Welcome back to Negative Frequency. I am your host, John Caprine, here tonight with a Good Friday message. And that was Mephorash, King of Kings, Lord of Lords, from their new album they released today, entitled Shem Ha-Mephorash. Now this band's very interesting, because the name Mephorash is a cipher. Now let's go into the Shem Ha-Mephorash. Now if I was still in the JOS days, I would tell you, Shem Ha-Mephorash is a Jewish, it's Yahweh, it's, the enemy, and so on and so forth. But now that I've dug into a little bit, the Shem Ha-Mephorash is a lot more than just Yahweh. It is a collective super name, super cipher that contains all the names, all the Kabbalistic angels and demons and their inverse within a 72-letter name. And then the Shem Ha-Mephorash is a super, super shortened name. And there isn't just one Shem Ha-Mephorash either. There's a Shem Ha-Mephorash of Yahweh, and what I most recently found out, there is a Shem Ha-Mephorash cipher, an explicit hypername of Satan. And this black metal band, Mephorash from Sweden, their occultism and lyrics is based off the works of Giles de Laval. I'm holding in my hands right now the book Sefer Yurok Ruachot by Giles de Laval, published by Aeon Sophia Press. And what this book is about is the Shem Ha-Mephorash of Satan, or more specifically called the Yurok Ruachot, which is so Yahweh has 72 archangels or archangel names that comprise the totality of the God of Israel. Satan, on the other hand, has a 27 fold letter name, or 27 fold cipher, and this is the explicit name of Satan, the enemy of Yahweh. This is very interesting. So, going in here, derivation of the explicit name of Satan, and this is page 47 in Sefer Yurok Ruachot by Giles de Laval. This section explains of the derivation of the 27 spirits of the Yurok Ruachot. They form a lesser Shem Ha-Mephorash. The great Shem Ha-Mephorash, which has been written about and used in mystical practice for centuries, is treated in my first grimoire, Black Magic Evocation of the Shem Ha-Mephorash. However, other Shem Ha-Mephorash subsystems exist, which are derived from different sections of the same source texts. The Yurok Ruachot is one such lesser system. We first begin with the Hebrew Tanakh. In the book of Psalms, chapter 44, verses 14 through 16, we find a passage concerning the calamity and persecution at the hands of the enemy, symbolically a type of Satan, the cosmic adversary. Psalm 44:14, Thou makest us a byword among nations, shaking the head amongst the peoples. Psalm 44:15, My confusion is continually before me, and the shame of my face has covered me. Psalm 44:16, For the voice of him reproacheth and blasphemeth, by reason of the enemy and the vengeful. These three verses have 27 letters. Using the standard techniques of the Shem Ha-Mephorash, the verses are then arranged in 3 rows, with the second row reversed and read left to right, as opposed to the normal reading of Hebrew text, which is right to left. Such a configuration yields the master matrix of the Uruk-Ruakot, the table of 3 rows and 27 columns, which form the spirits themselves, are derived by sectioning of the 81 letters of the composite name into 27 trigrammatons of 3 glyphs each. This matrix is as below. The trigrammatons are derived from reading up to down, right to left. For example, the first trigrammaton of the Uruk-Ruakot is, and the last is. In this way, this lesser Shem-Ha-Mephorash is enumerated into its foundational trigrammatons, shown with their ceremonial English translations: 1. Teom, 2. Sanak, 3. Yothuel, 26. Elek, 27. Mechem. At 27 spirits. Now I skipped over all of them. I only read the first 2 and the last 2. The 27 spirits comprising the Uruk-Ruakot are among a catalog of 1,273 Shem-Ha-Mephorash spirits, generated from a total of 52 Shem-Ha-Mephorash systems and subsystems, including the famous or infamous Shem-Ha-Mephorash, which has been the subject of more than a millennium of study. Of the remaining 51, this is the second to enter publication and become available to students of the occult. The first such lesser Shem-Ha-Mephorash system is developed in the grimoire The Explicit Name of Lucifer, also by Giles de Laval. Most of the Uruk-Ruakot are part of detachments of other spirits from this catalog which share the same gematria energy current, where in this case those spirits are also mentioned for context, although the conjuration seals and spirit signatures are only given for the Uruk-Ruakot. Primarily, each of the 27 spirits rules over one of the standard days of the necromantic month, which is explained later. In addition, they also correspond to the 27 mansions of the draconic or draconitic lunar month, as well as to the 27 Hindu nakshatras. And then this book goes to the necromantic calendar. I mean, it's some crazy fucking next level shit. You know, I really wanted to save this for I really want to make its own video, and I still am planning on making a Giles de Laval dedicated negative frequency, where I will go into Sefer Uruk-Ruakot and the Sacerdotum Umbrae Mortis, or Death Shadow Priesthood. Both grimoires I have by Giles de Laval. I don't have, he's got 3 other books now. He just released one called Rites of Nullification. And Mephorash released an album in 2015 called 1557 Rites of Nullification. And that was actually based heavily off Giles de Laval's work, and all the lyrics and everything were based off of him. Now, it was so successful that Laval, and the band and the Coven, they're all, were like, we gotta release the Rites of Nullification. So that's Laval's most recent book. He's also got Black Magic, Evocation, the Shem-Ha-Mephorash, and the Explicit Name of Lucifer. So I only have 2, the Death Shadow Priesthood and the Sefer Uruk-Ruakot. And later in this book, it kind of goes into like a sort of a Megaton of Solomon, the Sefer Uruk-Ruakot, and there's 27 spirits. Each have a goetic illustration on there, and they got a sigil and like a signature. Everything. I mean, it's a solid book. So anyone who's into, Goetia, Kia Solomon and stuff like that, you'll like the Sefer Uruk-Ruakot. It feels like a complete grimoire. The artwork and everything is over the top. All the seals are multilingual. They got Hebrew. They got the own sigils the author himself created on there. They got Passing the River. Theban, and Alphabet of the Magi. Like, everything is just over the top, just artistic, and like everything about Giles de la Val's books is just very fucking artistic, very beautiful in the drawings and illustrations and the sigil design. Very, very artistic, and just you could tell he really took his time. But that's not what this show's about. I went off a tangent here. I just wanted to give out a fucking black metal Friday message. I mean, Good Friday message here. So basically, Good Friday, I mean, it is a Christian, well, it's become a Catholic holiday now, but it was never, like, really Christian. Now, Easter, the name didn't change, actually. I heard, Easter is Ostara in the Norse or Germanic tradition. But, it is Esther, in the Semitic, Mideast traditions, based off Ashtaroth or Astarte, who is also Isis, and my personal experience, a younger sister of Hecate. Ashtaroth and Hecate are so similar. Astarte, Ashtaroth may as well just be Hecate's younger triple sister. Christians typically celebrate, the Good Friday. The Nazarene was crucified supposedly on Friday. Then he rose, on Sunday, Easter Sunday. But so much fucking shit has been, manipulated and lied to about the holiday and Christianity in general. I mean, the crucifixion symbol, there are a lot of pagan gods, some goddesses were crucified. And the normies and people tell you, this is just sun worship, or they're just dying for your sins or some shit. Now, it's actually fucking deeper there. It actually represents crossing the abyss. In there, if you go into Kabbalah. Now, the only books that I have that actually, plain out tell you, that the crucifixion is crossing the abyss would be Queen of Hell by Mark Smith. Or maybe if not Queen of Hell, in one of Mark Smith's interviews, that the Toad Rite, or the crucifixion, you're crucifying your own soul, and you're crossing the abyss where the soul is stretched in the four directions. In the satanic tradition, like the void worship traditions of Res Satanae and so on, and AMSG by Valentin Scaver, he says that the cross, that when each time a person is born, a soul is incarnated, the soul is crucified on a black, dense lead cross of desire, lust, emotion, the four elements of matter, and desire, materialism. So it's each a cross that the Gnostic has to bear and overcome, basically. Now, this wasn't, in any way, word for word. This is heavily paraphrased. And lastly, Good Friday and Easter Sunday, in the left-hand path, deep occultism, of current 218, current 182, Cain was the first satanic murderer, and he committed the first culling of the first Opfer on Good Friday, where he slew Abel. And now, for those of you who don't know who Cain is, he is the biblical Cain, as in Cain and Abel. And to the 182 necrosophic tradition, he's pretty much like
a little cross between Vincent van Gogh, Anton LaVey, and Evil Jesus Van Halen.
I had to fucking throw that in there. That was a Asheron and a Bob Larson interview. Yeah, Cain is seen as evil Jeebus. The Cain series, so Cain is the son of Satan, or carved from the body of Belial, one of Belial's scales. He was of the serpentine bloodline. Now get this for a story. Okay, so Abel's a complete, like, fucking NPC, non-player character. He's a complete golem. You know, he does everything fucking Yahweh demands him to. He's, sacrifice me some sheep. He fucking, kills the sheep and, like, all his farm animals and everything without second thought. Completely robotic, like no personality. Is completely, like the dead. The average, people who, live for, X Factor, Dr. Phil, McDonald's, Walmart, is their life. These people, the useless eaters. That's essentially what Abel was, and this is from the story of, Genesis. So Yahweh demanded sacrifice from the both of them. He wanted blood sacrifice, animal sacrifices from the both of them. They're Cain and Abel. Abel sacrificed, the sheep and like goats or something. It was accepted. Cain, on the other hand, refused. Instead, he burned some plants upon the altar, and this was refused by Yahweh. The smoke descended to the earth, and in the symbolism there, it's almost as if the earth opened up and hell accepted his offering of the burnt plants. So Cain's burnt offering was rejected by God, but it was welcomed by hell and the forces of hell, both infernal, Belial, the dragon, behemoth, and getting into the Sitra, getting to the inverse or anti-verse mere reflection of this material universe that is the dark tree. So what Cain did, he's like, fuck Abel. Abel's a complete, like, fucking piece of dirt. So he slays Abel, and his blood goes into the earth there, and the earth becomes a living nexion, or gateway to these causal forces of darkness, chaos. The earth becomes a living nexion. It's no longer just a garden anymore, but a dragon with an appetite for blood. And this was the first murder, the first sacrifice, and that's where all the, the killings and murder began, according to the 182-218 traditions. So murder is satanic, and it is, it is a sacrament. And Satanists of the 218-182 recognize Cain as the first killer and the one who brought death to this earth, who allowed the forces of night side, Sitra, the dragons of the other side to penetrate this material universe. Penetration of Midgard by darkness. Very, very interesting and very cool stuff there. If you like, all that is expounded upon in Liber Falcifer 2. The dark, the chaosophic Genesis. Now, I, for one, I don't really buy the, the Abrahamic biblical, stuff, because that comes from the Sumerian mythos, and man is much older than that. I'm learning now that we're actually millions and millions and millions of years older. So where the fuck did this Garden of Eden, come from? Was it, alien intervention, alien manipulation, but still, That's pretty cool as fuck that the useless eater, the fucking Abel, the happy, go lucky slave, sheep of Yahweh, the demiurge, was killed. Man, going back there, I don't know how Cain put up with Abel for so long. I mean, I can't speak for any of these gods. I can't speak for any of these entities. I mean, whether it's literal or symbolic, but I think this really did. I think this did happen. But not like in a way like the Sumerian, like Genesis or whatever like that. But there was like a war of bloodlines. The useless eaters versus the predators, the first werewolves, of the time. All of it's very, very cool. Fun stuff to study. Also, Falcifer, Latin is scythe bearer. So this deals with Saturn. This deals with the Reaper, death. Other occult traditions, like the Signor Muerte, the Santa Muerte cults, some of them tie Cain to Santa Muerte, the Reaper. Or in the Order of the Nine Angle tradition, the sevenfold numinous way. Then the Kala equivalent of the Reaper would be Mithra, the mother of poison. Now I've heard Mithra be compared with Santisma Muerte, who is she-death, the wife of death. So Cain has a wife, Qualmana. Mithra would be both Qualmana and Santisma Muerte. I'll talk about black metal for a few minutes. So, I've been, listening to, a little Mepharash, a little bit of Mepharash here and there. Not like listening to everything that they put out, but definitely 1557, The Rites of Nullification. When I first stumbled across them, like 2-3 years ago. So I've been listening to them since 2015. My favorite song by them was Ripheon, The Tree of the Saya Putrescent. And it features guest vocals by Nibiros, who's in a couple other Swedish black metal acts. Very, very cool stuff. And the reason why I like Mepharash so much is I am a purist. I do love my death metal and black metal. Very fucking pure and just wicked to the core, but also listenable too. I mean, I love the goat shit, put out by Archgoat, fucking Pseudogod, Neog Tables, Diafago, Sacro Curse, Wrath Prayer. I mean, all great fucking bands. Evil as fuck too. I mean, and evil like you wouldn't believe. I mean, you think Satanism comparing Glenn Benton. Glenn Benton's just like fucking child's play. He's just blasphemy, man. Fucking Neog Tables is just wicked. Or take a fucking Pseudogod, Illusion of Salvation. But I am just an illusion of salvation. Completely dark and unbelievably wicked shit. Pumped out by all these, underground, goat bands. I call them goat shit because they're just so dark. I mean, they're literally Lucifer's shadow. They are the devil's shit. Fucking pumped into this world. But I also love, black metal that I can hear all the instruments, the blast beats, and I'm not so elitist that I'm against like keyboards and symphonics and stuff like that. I actually started off, getting into black metal with bands like Old Cradle of Filth, and Dimmu Borgir. So we're talking about Ashtarte, Diaboli, Abrahadabra. Some of their older stuff, Pure Misanthropy. Fuck, got a tongue twister there. And for like their 2007 album, Ashtarte Diaboli. Now, I discovered Dimmu Borgir when I was like in fucking like probably like 9th or 10th grade. The main music video for the album Ashtarte Diaboli, The Sacrilegious Scorn, on YouTube is a fucking black metal epic. You know, and you know it's pretty silly. I mean, at one point they got like a shape-shifting goat of Mendes or like a Baphomet that turns into like a woman or something, you know, and speaks to Shagrath. And then at the climax of the video, they got like them doing like a black metal version of the Last Supper. I mean, it's just completely just silly and everything. But when I first watched that video when I was in high school, I probably stayed up like all night and replayed that video like 20 times. You know, just rewatched the video 20 times because everything about it, I just loved it. You know, the execution, the symbolism, the symphonics, you know, everything about it was just really good. And then, you know, Mepharash comes out with just today, Shemha Mepharash, and they got, you know, and they got, you know, like a choir of girls, you know, singing, you know, the opera parts of it, and they got like keyboards and stuff like that. It reminds me of Dimmu Borgir. A better version of Dimmu Borgir with like better lyrics and like actual, you know, occultism behind it. But nonetheless, Dimmu Borgir is of a different, you know, is of a different breed. I think they're more like of a Levian type of Satanism, where Mepharash is clearly a much more, you know, Kabbalistic, dark, mystical Satanism. I mean, I listened to, you know, Asheron, Deicide, you know, all the bands in between. There's a couple other good ones. Marduk. I got into them slightly later on. Oh, besides Dimmu Borgir, fucking Behemoth from Poland. And yes, I'm talking about the Nurgle Behemoth. That one. You know, you can say what you want about them. If it was for Behemoth, I probably would not be into extreme metal today. I mean, they got me, you know, into extreme death metal and black metal, fucking Zos Kia Cultus. You know, that album was really good, and I fucking got into that album like probably like 9th or 10th grade, and I'd sneak out, you know, the cafeteria and lunchtime. I'd go in the, you know, the library or something. I'd go online, go on to YouTube, whatever like that. You know, and somehow they didn't have the fucking, the fucking web filter didn't, stop the videos from YouTube there, but I watched fucking No Sympathy for Fools. I play that of Soskia Cultus by Behemoth like every fucking day, you know, and I was hooked on it, you know, and then eventually I started listening to the rest of the album and just, you know, oh, and then fucking Thelma 6 by Behemoth, fucking killer, fucking absolutely fucking crushing. You know, and then fucking got into Poland's Azareth. I got into Belphegor. Then fucking Marduk, and then not long after Funeral Mist, which is even more fucking wicked. Just good fucking bands, you know. I'm just reminiscing right now. Good fucking bands I fucking, you know, found out about through YouTube. And then, very slowly, I turn on an Archgoat, tune here and there, and then Black Witchery, Beharit, all these other fucking, um, goat metal bands, that if you fucking play them right now, you can hardly hear what's going on. But you gotta be of a certain, psychosis, a certain level of psychotic on death metal and black metal, and then you can actually hear what's going on. You can hear the vocals, the growls, the six-string Holocaust, blast beats, and everything that's going on. The pieces come together, and it forms a song. That's why metal is fucking power. It's also like a drug. I mean, normies, normal fags, they'll never get Archgoat. They'll never get Blasphemy. It'll sound like a toolbox falling down the stairs to them, because it's like it's almost like a mystery school, metal. You got to be initiated first. I started off with fucking old Cradle of Filth, Dimmu Borgir, Deicide, old Morbid Angel, Blessed Are the Sick, Covenant, Dawn of the Angry era Morbid Angel, and so on. Oh, and fucking Inquisition. That's another fucking awesome band. I fucking love Inquisition. Fucking Dagon and Incubus. Those two. It's just two guys. Dagon, he's guitars and vocals, and the other guy who's just drums. And he's tuned his guitar in a way that they can do it without the bass. That Dagon's riffage acts as both the bass and the guitars, which I think is very interesting as fuck. Oh yeah, and 11th grade, there I fucking have Ominous Doctrines of the Perpetual Mystical Macrocosm by Inquisition, at full volume going in my earbuds, and I'd have my awesome fucking badass coach and phys ed teacher. He'd be my spotter. He'd take the whole period for me. And help me bench press, help me do all the machines and all the weights and dumbbells and everything while I had Inquisition, blasted in my ears. It was fucking awesome, man. Those are great memories. So wherever the fuck you are in the world, whoever the fuck you are, what time is it? It's now Saturday where I am. It's 12:01 a.m. Eastern Time. Have a happy, good fucking Friday. I don't even care if you're of the right-hand path there. But, if you're of the left-hand path, also happy Good Friday, because that is a day of Falcifer, the Reaper, the first killer. Spend this day for meditation, fasting, or just listening to good black metal. There's nothing wrong with that devotional black metal worship. Hail my ancestors. Hail Ashtarte and Isis, sister of Hecate. Hail the true Christ, not the fucking ragged and torn Nazarene, but the light bearer Lucifer, who guards the true mysteries of crucifixion, which is soul crucifixion and the crossing of the abyss, to gain soul expansion, soul holocaust, and higher conscious, not higher, but fucking expanded, explosive consciousness, deification. That's pretty much it. I just want to do a short little negative frequency out here. I got one more tune for you. And this is by this interesting and obscure death metal band from the Netherlands, Holland, the same country that gave us Salem Lumici and the Devil's Blood. May he rest in chaos. This band's called Centurion, after the Roman rank. Americans, they got general, colonel, sergeant. A centurion was basically a Roman version of an officer, or like a sergeant or something in the Roman armies. And this is off their 2013 album Contra Rationum. Now, if you don't know these guys, they had Rob Orpheus behind this band. He had this band called Nox, N-O-X. And he released back in like 2002 or 2003 this album. This is 38-minute album, Exassar. Completely terrifying shit. All about Karanzanak, chaos gods, darkness consuming all life, just completely horrifying, just evil fucking lyrics. I mean, this fucking scared me when I listened to them in 2013. And then they created Centurion, which is a side project. No, I'm wrong. The original band was Centurion, and then Nox was a side project. And then back in 2012, 2013, they started making some tunes that sounded like Centurion again. And this is where this is from. Crown of Bones by Centurion. And I want you to listen to the lyrics, too. Pay attention. What we are, you will be. What you are, we once were.